Hey, my friends, it's Patrick Allmond here from Stop Doing Nothing Media, and I thought I would take a quick break from social media marketing world to create a video for a question I see people asking a lot, and that is, how do I even get started with the HighLevel AI Studio? And it's quicker and easier than you think. You don't have to be an expert in prompting or anything like that. You just have to figure out how, in human terms, to express what you want. That's all good prompting is, and it's refining it and refining it, maybe putting in a prompt that does something on an AI Studio website and then reverting it if it didn't work out very well. So I'm going to show you really quick. Oh, I just realized I'm recording in Descript on my screen. I'm going to go here on, here's my AI Studio and my development account. If you have an agency, please always work inside a development account. And what I'm going to do here, you're probably even seeing me, since I only have one screen, you're probably seeing the things that are the elements of me recording a screen. But here's an example right here. A lot of people, again, when you have nothing and you don't know what to prompt, again, just think of what you want to develop, or think about other things out there on the internet that have already been developed that you want to copy. For example, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to start a brand new project, okay? I'm making this up. I have not scripted this or thought about this at all. This was a spontaneous video. So you know what? I want to build a blogging site that replicates most of the functions of WordPress, okay? And again, that's a very English sentence. That's a very good, easy way to express what you want. And you just start giving it these prompts and just refining it over time. I'm a big fan of keeping my prompts pretty simple in small chunks. And then when I find a prompt that works, I may go save it off someplace. But if you're someone who doesn't prompt much or is building your very first site in AI Studio, possibly try something like this. And you hit enter on that, and then it goes off and churns. Right now it's free for us, thank goodness. Right now it goes off and churns. And remember, this LLM, there's a variety of LLMs I've heard from behind the scenes. HighLevel uses a variety of those in AI Studio. That thing also has the context of the entire internet as far as I know. So when you say you want a site like a WordPress site, it knows what WordPress is. And as you can see here, it's already come back and it's asking me questions. What do you want to replicate? So you know what? We'll start with the full starter right here. See, but isn't this great? One of the things I do like about AI Studio is the fact that if you don't know some of the stuff you want, it'll prompt you itself and says, hey, you gave me a very wide open question. Let's refine it. Do you want this part? Do you want that part? Do you want that part? And then for those of you, and then after a while, when you get deeper into your project, you'll see above the Ask AI prompt box on the lower left-hand corner that it actually gives you prompts ideas. It's like Amazon, right? How about this? How about this? Would you like to add this? Would you like to add this kind of color kind of stuff? So we're going to pick full starter right there. And I click on proceed. And it's going to say, okay, I think the full starter was a combination of a front-facing user consumable blog and the admin area, because WordPress has a front end and a back end. And if we're going to replicate a blogging type platform here, what we need to do is basically deal with the front end and the back end. Now, keep in mind, it's not going to develop the entire thing in this pass. It's going to take several prompts to get to what I want to do to replicate an old WordPress site, for example. Something else to remember also is that even though it's going to pick up a lot of my WordPress function because it knows what WordPress is, I still may have to fine tune things to get things precisely how I want. But that's the beauty of prompts, is you can just fine tune things over and over right here. Okay, it's now asking me which part do I want to do. You know what? Let's just do the public blog for now, okay? So in addition to building the front end and other parts of WordPress, I like to remind people that number one, as you're building an AI Studio, please always be aware of security. Right now, things like passwords, often API keys, often database connection information, is often exposed in your files. When you build this, it's building in a structure called React, and behind the scenes, it's a bunch of TSX files and JS files. And if you start putting API keys in here or passwords or things to connect to your database, those are going to be stored in plain text options. And what does that mean? That means if a guy like me pokes around your website and I start viewing the source of your files, I will be able to see your API keys and your passwords. So keep that in mind right now as you're developing here, is that there are not a lot of security features inside of AI Studio, and there are not a lot of things like database connections. You can do all these things, but it just takes knowing how some of this stuff works, like knowing how to connect to a Mongo database or knowing how to connect to a Supabase to actually get that connection. But you can connect it to databases, and you should definitely plan on that if you have something where data is going to be stored long term. For example, I'm just rambling here as it's building my WordPress site, but it's going to look like a fully functioning WordPress site, but it's technically not going to be one. If you want to store data long term or store data so you put it in today and it's there tomorrow, you need to connect to a database. There is no really easy way to put that. You need to have some database skills or talk to someone. We have an agency here, we have good database skills, or just talk to a developer that has database skills. And this is where in AI Studio, if you've got a history of programming or a history of software development, as I continue rambling, you have a definite one up on most people coming in. So as you're seeing here, I'm not going to make this video take too long. What it's doing is it's just iteratively going through all the steps and completing them one by one. And remember, I did all this with one prompt so far. I did it with one prompt. HighLevel asked me some, the AI Studio asked me some questions. And as you can see, it's running through here and building all these. And by the way, I've done this exercise several times, so I know that the site coming out of it, the first version of the site is going to look pretty good. So I'm going to give it a couple more seconds here and see if it's going to finish up pretty good. But my whole point of this video, again, is to emphasize that if you want to build something in AI Studio and you don't know where to start, just start talking to it or asking it. That's the beauty of it, is you can actually ask it, what kind of prompt do I build to get this done? One of the best functions of using any LLM, be it Gemini or Perplexity or Claude, is you can ask it what you want it to do. You can tell it, I want to build this, what kind of prompt do I need? And then it will basically give you a prompt, the output, which you can then copy and paste and say, use this prompt which you built for me, kind of thing. So this is just a quick briefing on how easy it is to get started with AI Studio. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. That's the whole goal of this video right here. So whether you saw this video on Facebook or on YouTube, I would love to hear your questions and the kind of things that you're building and how you're helping and teaching other people to be good at AI Studio also. Okay, I will see you down in the comment area.